All right, I think we are good to go now. What is going on Facebook? It's the Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders of the RCWR show, coming at you guys again with, as promised, a special Facebook Live edition of our Call That Match edition, as we're going to be talking WWE NXT Takeover that's going to be happening this Saturday night in San Antonio, Texas. Are you guys ready? We're pretty much here, man. Royal Rumble weekend. I am so pumped. I'm excited. It's my favorite time of the year. It only happens once a year, but it is definitely of the big four WWE pay-per-views that we get each year. This one of my top favorites. Seriously. But everything is kicking off with NXT Takeover San Antonio. Just want to set up some of these matches that we're going to be talking about here, what you guys can expect. For those of you that maybe haven't got caught up on NXT in a good minute, we'll definitely get you guys caught up to speed on some of these matches that have come about. And as you should be by now very familiar with how our Call That Match edition works, I look at the matches, I give you guys my ideas. I don't just pick the winners, but I try to figure out how the matches could possibly be won. I also take into account what you could expect for the next batch of weeks in programming. Now, before we talk about this NXT card, I think we all got to be on the real. NXT has been in a severe rebranding process, a rebuilding process for the past several months now. I mean, when you just really go back, you think about when Paige was down there. You think about when they had Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss. The landscape over there, it has just changed dramatically. And I do mean dramatically. I can recall a time when yours truly and a ton of other people, when you had a lot of those talents that I just mentioned, Neville, Rusev, Sami Zayn. I'd be here all night just going over the list. Ascension, all right? Ty Dillinger, Fandango. There used to be a time where NXT was the shits. It was blazing good. It was blazing hot. And now that all of those talents that I just mentioned and a few more have been called upon the main roster, NXT, it has just been struggling. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of talented individuals that's down there, especially some new faces that are really old and familiar faces to the true veteran wrestling fans. It's just amazing how it's still able to kind of stay afloat right now. There was a very interesting conference call that Triple H had just did this week talking about NXT Takeover, and he was pretty candid about the current position of where NXT is as a whole right now. And he admitted that they've had some tough growing pains, that they are in a very difficult position right now where all the guys that have helped out in that promotion over the years, they're no longer there, and they're pretty much going with what they have. They're doing the best that they can, quite honestly. And I think under the circumstances, Triple H is doing everything that he possibly can, but it also doesn't help that one of your main writers that was really the heart and soul we're kind of seeing. I mean, Triple H definitely, but he was getting help from a particular writer that's now doing things on SmackDown, which really explains why SmackDown has been on just a roll creatively as far as the writing process goes, why SmackDown has been on a roll beating Raw for many weeks. But that's an entirely different topic for another time. But none the case, I know a lot of people are looking at this NXT TakeOver event and they're kind of saying, man, I can't really be too pumped up for this TakeOver event because it's not like the first TakeOver. It's not like Rival. I don't know. I think I might just catch the highlights on YouTube or something. A lot of people are going to be passing out on this, but I think this is really going to be a true test for the NXT brand this weekend, because I've always personally found, and I've seen all the NXT takeovers from the very first one, I'm personally finding that when these NXT takeover events go down, they always hit a home run. And they hit a home run, so much so to the point that it intrigues you in a big way where you want to go out of your way and you want to go check out the WWE Network. You want to see what's coming about with the NXT programming for the next couple of weeks. You will want to check out a couple of episodes, but whether or not you're going to stay dedicated and you're going to continue to watch those ongoing episodes until the next takeover event, that remains to be seen. And I think that's where really WWE has been having a hard time in maintaining a connection with the fan base that are into NXT, because the takeover events deliver, but when it comes to the weekly shows on the network, it's like, I think a lot of you guys that have been the faithful with NXT from the beginning, even you guys can admit, come on, be honest. How many of you have like skipped out on many episodes of NXT because you're like, it's just not the same. There's only but one, two bright little, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm very curious to see if WWE can not only hit a home run with this takeover special event, but if they can also maintain interest in a way that it'll exceed 2-3 weeks worth of episodes, that it'll go 8, it'll go 12, it'll go 16. You feel where I'm coming from? So, interesting task that they got ahead of them. But let's go on ahead. Let's look at some of these matches that we got lined up. And don't forget, I'll remind you guys before I'm done with this stream, you know, you can catch me every single Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. I come on promptly after WWE SmackDown goes off the air. And as far as what we're going to be doing this weekend, yeah, I will be coming on live as soon as TakeOver concludes. I'll be coming on live via Spreaker.com. I don't know just yet, but I may also do a simulcast on YouTube as well, just to kind of give a nod to the YouTube, because we still got a good respected fan base that's over there. I get little private messages and stuff all the time asking if I could send some love over to the YouTube way. So not quite at 100% just yet, but I'm going to try to see if maybe we could pull off a simulcast for YouTube on top of Spreaker. But for sure, when TakeOver ends this Saturday on the East Coast, promptly hop on Spreaker.com. I'll be live on there. I'll provide all the links for you guys down below here in the video. So let's just, no particular order, but I do want to work my way up to the main event match. Let's look at Eric Young taking on Ty Dillinger. Okay, so how did we kind of like get to this point where these two guys are taking each other on, where they're facing off? Well, pretty simple. Basically, Ty Dillinger has that great connection with the fan base. He could be your new modern era Sami Zayn when you just think about the great feud that he had going on with Bobby Roode, but it just seems like every time you turned around, Roode, for the most part, able to get the upper hand on Ty Dillinger. Their matchups, infamous. They had a really great rivalry, and I would love to see these two guys revisited again. But he is like your new modern era Sami Zayn, but just not so much so, because it just really comes off like you see so much maximum better potential in a Ty Dillinger as potentially an NXT champion, as maybe even a WWE Universal or WWE World Heavyweight champion, as opposed to Sami Zayn. Some of you all may want to debate that. That's for you guys. Different topic, another time, another show. But Ty Dillinger has just been on such a bad streak as far as defeats that it's not even funny. And at one point, we saw him kind of questioning his value, feeling as though maybe it's time for him to leave NXT altogether. But he was given an opportunity to try to enter a tournament, as they needed to determine, William Regal that is, needed to try to determine a new #1 contender to take on the NXT champion. And of which Ty Dillinger, he lost. Once again, came right down to him meeting up with Bobby Roode in a fatal 4-way. Roode pinning Ty Dillinger, moving on to become that #1 contender. Meanwhile, as all of this is going on with Ty Dillinger, he's trying to figure out what's next for him. We see him cross paths with Eric Young and his new stable, Sanity. And they're like, hey, this hot mess, this streak that you're on, maybe you can turn it around. You should come be with us. You should roll with us. See what it's like being with some winners. We got a lot of good things going on. We're popping over here. Come invest with us. Ty Dillinger's like, thanks, but no thanks. Well, it turns out Eric Young actually wasn't giving an offer. He was actually making a demand. And since Ty Dillinger was not forthcoming, he was not receptive, just willingly, he was given a beatdown by Sanity members. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. That's how we got to this. So I'm looking at this and I'm just kind of going like, who needs this win more? Does Eric Young need this, or does Ty Dillinger need this? And quite honestly, if it were me booking this particular match, honestly, the way I would have this come about is Eric Young going to get some type of help from Sanity members? Is 1 to 2 members of Sanity going to be at ringside watching this match? And if so, how much of a role are they maybe going to try to play in this matchup as far as distracting the referee or whatever? If it were me, I would definitely have 1 to 2 members be at ringside probably a few minutes after the match starts, which could ultimately make a lot of fans, even those at home, think, okay, there's a swerve here. Yeah, Dillinger is not getting this. And I think that would be a good way of WWE to say to the fans, we got you. Because quite honestly, despite those numbers being stacked against Ty Dillinger, I can actually see him picking up a victory. I think in a situation like this, maybe Ty Dillinger could get some type of a quick roll-up. I could see maybe something like that coming about. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a really good it's going to be a nice, good, drawn-out match. Just looking at the card, thinking about how you could possibly open up the actual show. Not a pre-show match, but the actual card itself, and how you could probably kick things off. I think to really get the crowd going, it makes a lot of sense to open up with Eric Young, Ty Dillinger. Dillinger has that great 10. I mean, he just connects with the fans so well, to the point, you now go to WWE Raw. You now go over to SmackDown, and every single time you have the referee say this match is for one fall, the fans are like, one fall. And then they're also at many points throughout all the matches of the night for those respected shows, they too are chanting the whole 10. So it transcends very, very well. But Dillinger already has that connection there with the fans. I think he really needs this win more just to kind of continue to maintain some type of stock, because otherwise I think for Dillinger to suffer a defeat at this event, I really feel it would be detrimental. Seriously, I really don't think it would do any good. It would definitely have a lot of people kind of frown upon the booking, so to speak. But I still feel that this feud will not be over right here and there. I don't see this feud being over by a long shot at this takeover event. I think the way things will be playing out, these guys probably actually may not wrap up their feud until WrestleMania weekend, when NXT does their next takeover event. And maybe for these two guys, it could actually culminate in a steel cage match. That's just the direction that I'm going. But on this night, it's going to be a really good match. I think it's going to be a really good icebreaker. Nice way to start the event. I got Dillinger over Eric Young. Like I said, look for a little bit of interference. Numbers are definitely going to be stacked. Referee could get maybe distracted a little bit. I could see Dillinger kind of taking advantage, and it's basically kind of backfiring on EY, but they won't be done by a long shot. Let's go on to our next match. We've got one of my personal favorites from ROH, Roderick Strong. He's going to be taking on Cien Almas. How do we get to this point? I mean, honestly, not much is here. You pretty much kind of, you don't even really have an instant well, you do have an instant Acme feud right here when you really think about the circumstances of how these guys had locked it up. So everything just really goes back to the number one contenders match where, they kind of worked well together. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what eventually set up the instant Acme feud, so to speak. As you had Roderick Strong, who, when he first came in, he was a partner, tag partner that is, of Austin Aries until Austin Aries got injured, and he's pretty much been flying solo as a result. He was seen in a backstage segment, doing his thing, minding his own business. All of a sudden, Cien Almas had attacked him, and there's your instant Acme feud right there. That's pretty much how we got to this point. So, for me, I know a lot of people are going to be looking at this matchup. I mean, look, let's be brutally honest. Cien Almas just really has not been a hit. I mean, I remember when this guy, during like the second half of 2016, kind of going into late 2016, when he flipped it and he was no longer being a babyface. I mean, whoever was in charge of the booking, they tried hard to have Cien Almas go over as a babyface, but the WWE fans, they just were not feeling this guy. It just was not happening for this guy. So eventually they turned him heel, and that kind of gave him a little bit of buzz. It kind of gave him a little bit of a spotlight, of a little bit of attention, but it really didn't last that long. So, which is kind of unfortunate, because to Cien Almas' credit, he's a pretty damn good wrestler. I will give him that. I mean, when I see this guy in there and he's throwing it down, there is such finesse. It is just, when he does each of his moves, it is perfectly executed. It is perfectly timed. It is smooth. When you watch some people in the ring, it doesn't really come off like everything is just in one beautiful swing of poetry motion. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, you can tell in some areas that some wrestlers, how their wrestling style can be. It's a little bit clunky. It's a little bit, okay, I'm going to go bop, 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 bop. When you watch Cien Almas in there, it's just bop, 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 bop. I mean, everything is just smooth. It's just well-timed. Check out a lot of his matches when you guys get the chance, and you'll definitely see what I'm talking about. So, he's a great technician. He is a great technician. No mistake about that. I love the guy tremendously. But Roderick Strong, I've been a long time Roderick Strong fan. I go as far back with Roderick Strong to the ROH days. Remember when he was a ROH champion? I love this guy tremendously. I'm happy that he's in WWE, even if it's under the NXT umbrella. I've got this match being the sleeper match of the night. I think this is probably going to be the match that's going to have a lot of people walk away saying, wow, these guys actually delivered a pretty damn good matchup. And I think that's going to be much, much needed, because, in a time right now in NXT's tenure where the joke amongst a lot of fans that it's basically NXT TNA-ish, or it's NXT TNA ROHs. This is really the takeover event where they really got to make the leaps and bounds that they need to do to say, no, there is no, when you see these guys, there is no TNA, there is no ROH or whatever other independent promotion that's out there on the free agency market. It is just about two guys going in there, blowing the roof off, tearing it up. That's what it's pretty much all about. So this is my sleeper match of the night. I got these two guys having a fantastic matchup. As far as who is possibly going to pick up the win for this one, honestly, Cien Almas, I feel what's going on with this guy, sadly. I just think it's time for him to maybe have a different gimmick altogether. It's just not working for him. Didn't work for him as a babyface. Not really working for him as a heel. I don't personally feel. You may have a little bit more longevity with Roderick Strong. I'd give the W to Roderick Strong. How's Roderick Strong going to pick up the win? I don't see any type of cheating coming from Roderick Strong. I think this just needs to be a case where it's just a clean finish. Just pin 1, 2, 3. That's how I'm seeing it, quite honestly. But I like to see these two guys get separated and move on to some other feuds down the road. I'm just kind of thinking going forward, who knows, maybe Roderick Strong next could maybe kind of cross paths with EY. You know, maybe you can, you know, because when you think about it, you got certain characters in the WWE that does a really good job in mingling with other talents. Like, they do a good job having multi-feuds. And I think maybe if you kind of have Roderick Strong, maybe he can kind of do a little something with EY. Maybe you can kind of go in that direction. You got Hideo Itami. He's waiting to get back in there. He's been cleared from his injury for a good minute now. You know, maybe he slides in there. Who knows? I'll talk a little bit more about Hideo Itami in a little bit, but I got to go with Roderick Strong. Next up, my favorite tag teams, man. Oh, when I saw this on the card, I said, yeah. Oh, shit just got real. We got DIY taking on my guys, the Authors of Pain, Akeem and Razir, or as a lot of you guys like to call him as Razor. I like to say Razir because he's got that E in there, so forgive me if I might be wrong pronouncing it, but for me, I say Razir. You all may want to say Razor. I'm going with Razir. It is what it is. But I'm loving this one. How we get to this point, DIY, they had that phenomenal feud with the Revival, nominated for, what was it, Tag Team Match of the Year, what they were doing. I mean, hell, we polled you guys, and we still got the poll that's happening right now. I actually am going to be extending it because I want to get more responses from you guys. But, I mean, just the way you all are answering right now, it's kind of coming off as though Revival and DIY are the winners as far as, like, Tag Team Feud of the Year or Tag Team Match of the Year. I'm telling you, you guys got to represent. Yeah, make sure you go cast a vote there. If you guys haven't done that yet, you can easily do so by heading on over to tinyurl.com/2016 RCWR Awards. That's tinyurl.com/2016 RCWR Awards. But DIY had that great feud going on with the Revival for the second half of 2016. It was phenomenal. Akeem and Razir, on the other hand, for the Authors of Pain, you look at what all they accomplished. I mean, they've just been dominant in the tag division since they've appeared on NXT programming. And to their credit, they defeated the American Alpha. You could pretty much downright say they sent the American Alphas packing, hitting one off of NXT going to SmackDown. They won the Dusty Rhodes Classic tournament. The tag team tournament. So, I mean, probably the only thing that, like, is left on that resume right now, for now at least, is getting a hold of those tag team titles. Now, don't get me wrong. When those guys are in the ring and they do their double tag team moves, whoo, it's devastating. It is ugly, especially when they hit their trademark signatures and finishers. It is downright freaking ugly. You're like, ooh, yeah, they ain't getting up from that. But the thing that I'm really going to be continuing to look out for with these guys, they're still a little bit wet behind the ears. So much green that, yeah, they got nice, good 1, 2, 3 trick little pony moves that'll get you going, ooh, ah, and everything like that. But as far as the chain wrestling, just really being able to tell a good story in the ring, a good long match, I will admit it, and I'm a huge fan of the Authors of Pain, they have yet to really tell that story. Now, they do have a respected following from the WWE fan base, but as it stands right now, once you get past those 2 to 3 signature moves, the 1 to 3 finishers, that's pretty much it for the Authors of Pain. So I'm looking for a lot more from these guys. Meanwhile, I go over to DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Freaking Wrestling. They've been tearing it up. I've continued to be impressed with these guys. Love them. Love them. They've been on such a great roll. This is a really tough one for me because when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, this is good. I love it, but I'm so heartbroken right now because it's like these are my two favorite tag teams. And for me, I'm going, well, how much of a factor is Paul Ellering going to be in this? Is he going to be a factor at all? It makes you wonder. Really makes you wonder. I think he actually is going to play a little bit of a factor in this, but when it's all said and done, I do not see the Authors of Pain, and I have been a champion for the Authors of Pain. I have been waving that flag saying they need to be the tag champions. I have continued to give them nothing but praise, talking about how much of a bright career I see in their future, especially when it gets that point in time where it's time for them to go up to the main roster. But as it stands right now, they need a little bit more seasoning. Just a little bit more seasoning. And I think working with DIY can take them to that next level. So I smell some good money here. I smell really good opportunities in this feud. I am going with DIY just barely able to retain their tag titles over the Authors of Pain. Just barely. It is going to be by some type of luck. I'm not sure if I'm booking this, quite honestly. Maybe the way I would have this come about, closing moments of the match, you know, I could see one of the respected legal members for the tag teams. They're in there, they're slugging it out. There's some fighting happening outside the ring with the other two participants. They're going at it. Maybe Paul Ellering tries to get involved. Maybe he tries to hit one of the DIY guys, but he's able to deflect it. Maybe we see one of the Authors of Pain guys. They try to get in the ring, and as a result of seeing that the match is about to go 1, 2, 3, they're about to lose. And there is some type of a grabbing of the leg, so to speak. You know, basically a DIY stops that Authors of Pain brother from getting in the ring and stopping the 3 count. And then that's how DIY continues to hold on to those tag belts. That's really the way I'm kind of picturing everything going down with that matchup. But I've got them escaping just by a hair. Shout out to everybody checking out the stream right now and those that's going to be checking this out on demand. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you give it a like, share it, all that good stuff, man. Trying to do this a little bit more for you guys, man. It's a nice way to kind of stay connected with you all throughout social media in between the main shows. All right, we got 2 more matches to talk about. Let's go ahead. Let's get right through it. So next up, we've got the Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's title. We've got Sanity's Nikki Cross taking on Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Asuka. It is going to be a Fatal 4-Way match for Asuka's NXT Women's title. How did we pretty much get to this point? Really? There's only one story you need to know of right now, which is since Asuka signed to the WWE, since she appeared on NXT back in 2015, Homegirl has been undefeated. She has been undefeated in singles matches. Whoever has been put in front of her, she has destroyed them. So much so that over at an NXT Takeover Canada event last year, we saw a phenomenal matchup as the one and only, the beautiful hardcore country herself, Mickie James, made her return. That was a great matchup, but even Mickie James fell victim to the hands of the beautiful, the lovely Asuka. So really what the story is about right now is great. Asuka is undefeated in singles matches. Let's see how she does when she's facing multiple opponents at the same time and she does not even have to be at the receiving end of a pinfall or submission. Can she still walk out as champion? That's the real story that is being told right here. And we've seen a few hints that possibly maybe Nikki Cross and Asuka are going to be involved in some type of a feud. Anybody that's been watching NXT programming past handful of weeks, every time you turn around, kept seeing Nikki Cross holding on to the NXT women's title. So I see potential great chemistry with these two getting it on. No disrespect to Peyton Royce, no disrespect to Billie Kay. They're beautiful. They are coming along. I'm just not sold. I'm not fully committed just yet on seeing them with a championship run. I am still not quite there yet. I'm trying to do my best not to say they aren't ready, because it's like you never really are ready. But based on what we have been seeing of their in-ring experience with their character development, their in-ring work, their connection with the crowd, everything is just not in perfect harmony just yet to even warrant a run with the championship belt right now. I'm just not seeing it. Maybe some of you are, but me personally, I'm not seeing it. Nikki Cross, on the other hand, she got there in NXT, what, guys? Like, what, mid-September, October? And, you know, she's got a nice little gimmick package going on. You know, she kind of has hints of TNA Wrestling's Rosemary to a certain degree. So I see a lot of potential in Nikki Cross. If you're going to take the belt off of Asuka, I think the story that you need to tell in this is having Asuka not even be a factor. Have her not even get pinned. Have her not even be submitted. I believe this is going to come down to a case where Sanity's Nikki Cross is going to be picking up the pieces, or you know, pick up the pieces, like that Average White Band song. That's what she's going to be doing in this matchup. She's going to be picking on the bones of Peyton Royce and or Billie Kay. That's pretty much how she's going to become, I think, your new NXT Women's Champion when it's all said and done. Make no mistake about it. I'm going on record. Y'all going to get a new NXT Women's Champion, and it's going to be Nikki Cross. I find it kind of interesting that my girl Amber Moon, I had a lot of, good high praise, and I don't know what's going on with my girl. I didn't hear anything about her being injured, so if she is, I mean, maybe you guys can help me out by commenting below. Is she injured right now? What's going on with her? But kind of find it interesting that she's like anywhere not in this picture. But I tell you what, right when you get done with Nikki Cross Asuka, assuming maybe you're going to go in a direction where Nikki Cross will continue to hold on to the NXT Women's title, maybe then you can kind of slide in Amber Moon. She's got a title reign in her. If I'm just looking at like the order of succession right now, as far as, okay, we can definitely put the strap on them, make them be the face. Yeah, Asuka, Nikki Cross, Amber Moon. That's the steps that I'm going in right now. That's the order I would go in. Last matchup of the night. Looking forward to this one, man. It is going to be Shinsuke Nakamura defending his NXT heavyweight title against Glorious himself, the It Factor, Mr. Bobby Roode. It pays to be rude. How did we get to this point? Well, we told you how Bobby Roode had won a qualifying match where he had defeated One Lorsian to enter a mini tournament to determine the new #1 contender to face the NXT champion. And in that fatal four-way, he ended up pinning his arch nemesis, Ty Dillinger. That's pretty much how Bobby Roode got up in there. You go to Nakamura. He pretty much wrapped up his true one long-lasting feud that he's had, and only feud that he's had at this point, since coming to WWE's NXT and Samoa Joe. And that pretty much wrapped up in a steel cage match that happened last month in Australia. A lot of rave reviews, all that good jazz. So this is pretty much where we're at right now. Bobby Roode promising that by winning the NXT World Heavyweight title, he is going to take NXT as a whole to new heights. He's going to take it to that next level. I mean, you come right down to phenomenal entrances. That is really what's going to have a lot of people talking, is the phenomenal entrances that these guys are going to be having. I mean, just both of them alone. They've got some of the most classic, very memorable entrances that you'll ever see in recent memory. I mean, it is right up there currently right now with the Dalton Castle. It is up there with the Kenny Omegas and all that. I mean, just phenomenal entrance. But the match itself, I'm telling you guys, could this be your match of the year candidate? I believe so. From everything that I have seen of Bobby Roode over the years, everything that I've seen of Nakamura over the years, this is going to be a hell of a classic matchup. No mistake about it. Looking forward to it, quite honestly. It's going to be a phenomenal matchup. As far as who's going to be coming out of this, I got to tell you, man, I am seeing a lot of indications that Nakamura is going to be coming up to the main roster. And honestly, I think Nakamura is going to drop the strap to Bobby Roode. I really do. Now, whether or not Nakamura is going to try to go after Bobby Roode one more time, I think it will go down just as a way of doing like a proper send-off for Nakamura. But I truly believe in my heart of hearts, Nakamura is going to be moving up to the main roster, and I'm just going to jump out there. We know of the 22 participants in the 30-man Royal Rumble match for this Sunday. I believe Nakamura is going to be one of those surprise entrants into this year's Royal Rumble. That's honestly, I'd be shocked if he wasn't announced, but that's the vibe that I'm really getting from this right now. There will be a rematch between Nakamura and Roode, no doubt about that. But afterwards, you know, it's really about what's next. But let's really expand on this. By having Roode be the NXT World Heavyweight Champion, there is just so many different directions that Roode can go. Oh my God, you can go in the direction of Hideo Itami. You can go in the direction of Ty Dillinger, his old arch nemesis, and how fitting would it be to have Roode drop the strap eventually to Ty Dillinger. I mean, just under the right circumstances, during a great rivalry, and having a really good story playing out where Dillinger gets the upper hand and he comes out with the strap. He's your new champion. That's a great story in itself. Bobby Roode possibly locking up with his old TNA buddy, Eric Young. You can even have Cassius Ohno, aka Chris Hero. Let's not forget, he recently has signed with the WWE. So, I mean, there's a lot of different directions that you can go in right now. I mean, no disrespect to Shinsuke Nakamura, but there is a lot more potential / revenue making opportunities with Shinsuke Nakamura on the main roster as opposed to the NXT brand. So for me personally, this is going to be it for Nakamura, and I know this is probably going to be a devastating blow to those that are trying to hang on watching NXT, but that's just a vibe, man. I mean, you got to continue to evolve. You got to continue to keep moving on, and that's what's going to be going down, man. But that should be a phenomenal matchup in itself, right there. So there you have it. One more time, just to recap. I got Dillinger over Eric Young. I've got Roderick Strong over Cien Almas. I've got DIY barely escaping with their NXT tag titles. I've got Nikki Cross becoming your new NXT Women's Champion. And I have Bobby Roode coming away as your new NXT World Heavyweight Champion. That's how I'm looking at it for this Saturday night's NXT Takeover event in San Antonio, Texas. One more time, I'm going to be coming at you guys live. I'm going to be doing it on Spreaker.com. I may do YouTube as well. Not sure just yet, but you'll definitely get a notice once I work out a few kinks, try to figure out if we're going to do a simulcast. But for sure, live on Spreaker.com. All the information you need, it'll be down below in the comment section from me, so just make sure you click on that. And then don't forget, man, Sunday will be the Royal Rumble, and if you guys appreciated this, make sure you come on back for Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook Live. I will be doing a special Facebook Live edition of our Call That Match, and I'll be talking about Royal Rumble. I'll offer up my picks on how I think that all is going to be playing out, some ideas, etc. So, yes, we will be coming on live as well after the Royal Rumble concludes as well. So, once again, this Saturday night, Spreaker.com, we'll be talking NXT TakeOver, San Antonio Fallout, and then this Sunday night, the 29th, we'll be talking Royal Rumble Fallout. So, I'm loving it. My favorite time of the year, man. Alright, so make sure if you haven't done so already, you like this. You like the Facebook page if you haven't done so. Like that as well. Follow me on Twitter at the RCWR show, as I'm always posting some really fun and exciting content for you guys to check out. And that is going to do it, man. I'm wishing all y'all to be safe, be kind to one another. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think is going to be happening in that NXT TakeOver. You can even talk a little bit about Royal Rumble if you like as well. That's going to do it. I'm out of here, guys. I'll catch y'all later.